I'm now going to turn things over to Sophie Dunbar, who's going to speak a little bit more about BPK programs and what to expect. There you are. It's just down to the C. Okay, great. Thanks.
So we're the Department of Biomedical Physiology and Kinesiology, but we actually have 3 distinct majors and 2 different minors. So we have biomedical physiology and kinesiology with or without an active health and rehabilitation concentration, and behavioral neuroscience. So our biomedical physiology major is, they all lead to a Bachelor of Science, just to clarify that. And they all cover anatomy and they all cover physiology. But our biomedical physiology major has a little bit more, is a little more cellular, so it has a little bit of extra chemistry and MBB. Our kinesiology program is a little more whole body, and students who take that one will do a little bit of nutrition, some exercise. There's a fantastic second-year course, which is athletic injuries and preventions, often taught by someone who's actually has a research master's, but also was a physical therapist. One of our other profs is chiropractor, so lots of people who have great hands-on experience. Behavioral neuroscience is a combination of BPK and psychology. So for that program, behavioral neuroscience, you have an extra person in your support team. That's the psych advisors. So if you've got, primarily you will be dealing with me, but if you have a very specific question about a psych course, you need to go through the psych advisor. So that's a really, really quick overview of our 3 different majors. We also have a minor in biomedical physiology, which will often be, a student might be an MBB major and they might do that BP minor, or they could be in the Faculty of Health Sciences. And then the kinesiology minor, some science students will do that. Some students will be doing a business major and do a kin minor. So you can blend all kinds of different combinations of majors and minors, with some exceptions, but I think that Aidan is going to chat a little bit more about that later on. So actually, speaking of that, over to Aidan.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Sophie was mentioning, there's different ways that you can do your degree. Most people will do a major, right? So a major is kind of your primary area of concentration in your field of study. So the 3 majors that Sophie mentioned. This is kind of what it looks like. So lower division just refers to courses that are 100 and 200 level, okay? That doesn't mean you have to only do those in your first and second year. You can do them at different times. The important thing is, do you have the prerequisites to do that course? And I'll talk about that shortly. So as you can see, there is, these are the types of courses that you're looking at in your 100, 200 levels are your BPK courses, biology, chemistry, math, MBB, which is molecular biology and biochemistry, physics, and stats. And then psych is there in brackets, just because that would only apply to students who are doing behavioral neuroscience, okay? So there's a lot of crossover in your courses, your first and second year. You'll probably be doing courses with other life sciences students as well, so like biology students, MBB students, etc. Okay, once we get to upper division, so that's talking about your 300 and 400 level courses, we're looking at around 44 to 45 units. So each course at SFU is typically 3 units. Some courses are 4 units if they're a lab, because there's a little bit of extra time that's added to the course. There are some smaller unit courses, and but the majority of the courses you're interested in are going to be 3 or 4 unit courses. Okay. Upper division courses, they typically are going to be more specific. So they'll have topics that you're going to go into more in-depth topics on. And you also have more of a choice as to which courses you want to take in your upper division. Okay, honors. You might have heard of students like, oh, I'm doing an honors in my major. So what does that mean? You're actually still taking all the same courses, but additionally, you're taking 12 to 15 more units on research-based courses, okay? So those additional units are like writing your thesis, doing some research, probably in a lab up here with a prof, and then reporting on your research. So that could be writing a paper, attending a conference, could even be doing a poster. We do have posters here in SciSpace, research posters. The next thing I just want to touch on is WQB requirements. Hopefully that you've heard some of these terms before if you've done Uni Prep 2, for example. So this just refers to what's known as like elective courses. The first one to mention is your W, which refers to writing courses. You'll do one, typically one course in your lower division. Most students would pick an English course to do that. English is usually the one that students go with just because if you're wanting to apply in the future to grad school or professional schools of some sort, they often do require an English, at least one English. And you'll get another W course in your upper division. It's actually built into your program, so don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about your quantitative course or science course because you're in a science program, so it's already kind of taken care of with your requirements. The ones you do want to worry about or be aware of is humanities and social sciences. Okay, so you need 6 units of each of those. So that's 2 courses. There's a list of all the courses at SFU that fulfill that requirement. And again, that's an elective course. It's meant to be something that you can take out of interest that's outside your typical area of study. And then another thing we want to mention is the minor. So I did say most people will do a major for their degree. You can do another kind of combination is doing a major and adding on a minor. A minor is, again, it's another area of study. It's typically outside your main area. So, we've had students do all sorts of interesting minors. You can do a kin and business minor, for example. There will be less requirements to do the minor. So it's less courses, usually easier to get into the minor as well. And if you're interested in minoring in, a department outside of science or in a different faculty, you would just contact that faculty and the advisor will guide you on how you declare a minor, okay? And one last thing to mention is there is a general science double minor. This is something that's offered within the faculty. You would still get a Bachelor's of Science degree. So when you graduate, your parchment will still say Bachelor of Science. Instead of having a 1 major, you'd have 2 minors. One of those minors does have to be a science minor. So I mentioned it to people here just in case you wanted to do a kinesiology minor or a biomedical physiology minor. There is no behavioral neuroscience minor, by the way. So it would be either of those 2 minors and then another minor, and that can be from any other department within or outside of science. Okay. And I think I'm going to hand back to Sophie.
Yeah, so Neela, if we can stop this slide share so that Sophie can do her share. Hope again, technology cooperates smoothly.
Yeah, so share. Oh, you cannot start share now. Okay, I need to wait.
Stops.
Yeah.
There.
Okay, let's try now.
Just tap on the share one more time at the bottom. Excellent.
And
That one,
here we are.
share. Perfect.
Great. Okay. So I've had a busy week this week and a lot of students have had exactly the same question. So, or questions, I should say. So we have created a lot of really useful resources and I want to go through them quite quickly today, but I want you to be able to go back to them after today in your own time and spend as much time as you want on the ones that are useful to you. So I keep looking over there, but I can actually do it from here. So it's we're on our BPK website, the undergraduate tab, and then forms and resources. And I'm going to try and use a few different ones. So if you have been approved into the biomedical physiology major, there's something called a program planner. And this is what it looks like. And this is a fillable PDF. Lots of students will download this to their laptop or their tablet or whatever they use or a hard copy. I think only people my age use hard copies, but anyway. And this whole first page is all of your required 1st and 2nd year courses. Now, this is again for the biomedical physiology major. And then the 2nd page is your 3rd and 4th year courses. So if you complete everything on this, you've met your degree requirements. Now, I'm just going to go back quickly to the top here. Oops, there we go. So Aidan was chatting with you about general electives and WQB. So some of you, if you're interested in applying to medical school, UBC Medical School requires 6 units of English. And English happens to be breadth humanities. So a student would probably take 2 English courses, maybe English 111, English 115. That would fulfill their 6 units of breadth humanities. Some students want to keep their options open. They might be interested in becoming a physical therapist. UBC requires 3 units of psychology. It just so happens that intro psychology is a BSOS. So that could be psychology 100 or 102, 106, or you can replace it with a cognitive science course. So you can fulfill multiple requirements with one course. The only thing is you need to be careful if you're fulfilling multiple requirements with one course. If it's a 3-unit course, it's only worth 3 units. So even though it may show up 3 times on your form, you're not giving yourself 6 or 9 units for a 3-unit course. So why am I saying that? Well, breadth humanities here, the English course is also a writing. So if you did English 111, you would put it up on the line beside breadth humanities, English 111-3. Next to writing, you would put English 111-0. And then if you took sociology or you did intro psych, you would put that beside the BSOS. It's a 3-unit course. If you wanted to do intro crim, that's also BSOS. So that would give you your 6 units of BSOS. So you would come out of that with BHUMS and BSOS, you would have 12 units. And you notice at the top, it says you need 16 units. Well, let's say that you came in with all your grade 12 sciences except physics 12. So if you did physics 100, it would count down below where it says additional free electives. So that would be 12 units plus your 3 units of physics 100, you'd be at 15 units. That section would be done mostly. You'd be short 1 unit. So one way to do that is to try and find a 4-unit BSOS. It just so happens sociology, anthropology 150 is a 4-unit course. There's lots of others. If you did that as one of your BSOSs, that section would be done. You'd have your 16 units. Okay, so that sometimes students get a bit confused about that. I'm going to move on. So let's go back. So there is an equivalent document to this for kinesiology. Okay, and if we've got time, I might go through that one. It has an additional requirement of CQPCA. Stands for the Canadian Colleges of and Universities of Physical Education and Kinesiology. And a lot of the courses that satisfy breadth humanities and breadth social sciences can also count as CQPCA. So that's one of those courses where you're counting it in multiple places, but it's only worth 3 units. Okay. Well, what I wanted to show you, which is really I like this document, and it was quite a lot of work to put together. So I have to thank some of my colleagues in my office. This is exactly the same information that we looked at on that program planner. But what's really nice about this one is, if I go and I click on Biology 101, this takes you to the current calendar description. And what's nice about it is, it will tell you what the prerequisites are for the course. If those co-requisites, it will list it as well. And it'll tell you who's teaching. If it's not running in a particular term, you won't see D100, D200. Okay, so there's 2 sections, one on the Burnaby campus, one at the Surrey campus. Let's just click on D100. So you can see that it's just drilling deeper and deeper as we click on more things. So this is a more detailed course outline. It's going to tell you what topics are going to be covered from week to week. And then at the bottom, it will tell you how you're going to be graded. And then if we keep scrolling, it will tell you about reading materials, or if there's a lab manual or anything else like that. Okay, and there's one of these, again, the program planners, we have a separate one for all 3 of our majors. We have a separate one, a map for all 3 of our majors. The next thing we're going to look at is suggested first-year enrollment. We also have the same documents for our 2 minors. I'm not going to go into the 2 minors today because I'm assuming that most of you here are in the major or interested in the majors. Let me see if I can go back without losing my place here.
You go back to the top left corner.
Yeah, oh. Come and help me here, Claire. What have I done? Oh, there we are, but I can't arrow back from here, so that's good. Oh, okay. I didn't think it was highlighted. So now I'm just gonna keep scrolling down to first year enrollment biomedical physiology. So there we are. I won't go through the first page in too much detail. All I want to say, and again, Aiden will chat about this a bit more about this. This is a big transition from high school to university. And a lot of you are coming in with your grades in the high 80s, mid 90s. Some of you even have 98%. Maybe some of you once in one course 100%. This makes you think, you know, you're a good student and you are a good student. This is university and a lot of the students are coming in with those kind of grades. The expectations from the professors are different. So there's some useful documents here that talk a little bit about that. And I'm not really going to go into much more detail, but you will have access if you want on your own time to go and have a look at some of those links. I won't spend too much time on this one either, except to say that a lot I've noticed during my advising time, a lot of students are missing physics 12, so they need to do physics 100. But some students have physics 12 and they may be missing chem 12, or maybe they're missing biology 12. So there are equivalents that you can take at SFU and it'll count as a general elective towards your degree. And that's just what this page is telling you. Whichever one you're missing, find it at the top of the page and make sure you do it in your first or second term. Okay. And also, again, Aiden, I think we'll talk some more about this, but you will decide how many courses you take in your first term. You could take 3 courses, you could take 4, you could take 5. We have a certain number that we recommend, and I guess, again, Aiden will chat about this. But if you want to try a certain number and week 1 or 2 or 3, you're going, wow, I've taken on too much. You've got to be aware of the drop deadlines and the financial implications of dropping. So there's a link to that there as well. So I'm just going to scroll down to the important part here. So this is a recommended courses for year 1 and 2. And it really is a recommendation. You do not have to follow this to a T, but let's have a look at term 1 for a student. A student who doesn't have physics 12 might want to register in BPK 142, Chem 121, physics 100 to replace their physics 12, and then maybe an elective course. This would apply whether you're in biomedical physiology or kinesiology. If you're working towards behavioral neuroscience, that elective course could very likely be one of your intro psych courses, because that's core for your program. So that term 1 would still apply. Now, because of the Chem 121 is 4 units, that's 13 units. So you have to decide, students have to decide if they think that they can handle the 13 units in their first term. Now, having said that, you can decide to do 3 courses if you want, or 4. The only caveat I have to add to that is if you're on student loan and you want full-time student loan, you need to be in a minimum of 9 units. If you are a varsity athlete, or if you're on certain types of scholarship, you may be required to have a minimum of 12 units. Okay. So that's this, and there may be some questions at the end, and we've allotted lots of time to answer those. So I'm not going to spend much more time. Oh, I do have one important thing that I do need to mention. It's listed on here. The most important second year prerequisite for third year BPK courses is BPK 205. BPK 205 has the prerequisites of Biology 101, Chem 281, and Physics 101 and 102. The prereqs for Chem 281 are Chem 121 and 122. So that's why we've got sampled term 1, 2, and 3. We're trying to make sure that students are getting the prerequisites completed in a timely manner so that they can take 205. Because if all of a sudden you're ready to register for third year BPK courses and you don't have 205, students will often ask, can I do them at the same time? You cannot. The professors are expecting that you've already learned all of the material that's in 205. And so that's a really important one to work towards. Yeah, and I think that sort of covers everything I wanted to cover. And again, just make sure that you're looking at the right planner, the right course map, and the right suggested first year enrollment for your particular major. Okay, and I'm going to hand over to Aiden, I think, again. Stop sharing.
Alrighty, Neela, you can start back up.
Thank you. Okay, so we've mentioned internal transfer before, so just what does that mean? Basically, if you're a student at SFU and you decide, oh, I'd like to switch my program, maybe I'm not enjoying this program, but I want to go to a different faculty or a different department within the same faculty, that's just referred to as internal transfer. The reason we mention it to this group of students is if you are planning to do or intending to do behavioral neuroscience, you will go through the internal transfer process. If you're in a different faculty and you want to do kinesiology or biomedical physiology, that's also internal transfer, okay? And if you're transferring in from college, yes, so you actually have credits, you have post-secondary credits, which is great. Those are all going to apply towards your degree. However, you still need to do internal transfer to get into one of the 3 BPK programs. I'm very briefly going to talk about this. The screen that Sophie just showed, the BPK forms page, actually has the application form for internal transfer. And it's pretty good. The first 2 pages have pretty good instructions, and it shows you exactly what I'm going to talk about right now. Essentially, there are a set of courses that you would have to do. Internal transfer is all based on GPA. Okay, so you are, we do call it competitive entry. It doesn't mean you're competing against other students, nothing like that. It doesn't matter how many other people are applying. You're just competing against the GPA. Okay, so attaining a certain GPA on a certain set of courses, and that's how you get in. It's very black or white. It's kind of easy to figure out if you're in or not. So there's going to be a first set of courses. Again, this is on the application form. And within that set of courses, you need to get a 3.0 GPA. A 3.0 at SFU just refers to a B average, okay? And it is an average, so meaning all the courses in set 1, the average would have to be 3.0, okay? If you don't get in on set 1, there is a second set of courses. We call them set 2 courses. You'd have to do a minimum of 4 of those set 2 courses. And the GPA is actually going to drop from 3.0 down to 2.7. And that's based on all of your set 1 courses plus at least 4 set 2 courses, okay? There's application deadlines that are listed here. So students are admitted every term. Okay, if you don't get in one term, do apply again. There's no penalty for applying. Doesn't matter how many times you apply, anything like that. And then just a note here that course reserves, if you're wondering about this, all the upper division courses, so those 300 and 400 level BPK courses, they are reserved for students who are approved as a major or minor, meaning that the system, the registration system, it actually won't let you register unless you're approved, right? So that's why you have to go through this internal transfer process, and then you can access those courses. Okay. Be prepared. Okay, here's a big one. So course load, Sophie alluded to this. For your first term at SFU, we definitely recommend taking it easy, okay? So it is a big transition. So 3 to 4 courses is actually fine for your first term, okay? On that recommended list, I know we had BPK 142 on there. That's a great course if you can get into it. It is a popular course, everyone needs it. Don't worry if you don't get it in your first term. It's offered every term. It is a heavier course too, so we'd recommend if you're doing that one, try not to take too many other big courses, okay? Academic readiness, another big term, a big important aspect of being a student here. We know it's a big transition coming from high school or even from college to SFU. I know personally, I really struggled. My first year was really tough. And this goes for BPK students and just any student in general across SFU. So we want to provide as many resources as possible for you to succeed and to succeed early and not fall behind. So SciSpace is definitely your home. You're all welcome to come here, not just to study. This place is typically, tables and chairs here for people to study or socialize, hang out. But we also have workshops. We have resources from other units in the university. So places like the Student Learning Commons, Co-op, Career and Volunteer Services, all those really good resources. We actually host them here. So you can access all that. Macy, myself, and our colleague Carmen, we're going to be visiting your classes in the very first term. So you're going to see us again, just to remind you, like, hey, we're here. We'll also remind you about the workshop dates that are coming up, any kind of special things that are happening on campus. So again, if you're feeling lost, if you're not sure, you know, not just about how to do well in courses, but internal transfer, how to plan out my schedule, all that sort of stuff, definitely come here and see us. Trimester system just means that at SFU, we offer 3 terms per year. So we're currently in the summer term. When you're coming in, it's called fall term, and then there's a spring term. So all 3 terms are 4 months each. So they're all even lengths and all evenly distributed throughout the year. The summer is a full term, so there's actually a pretty full offering of courses. The nice thing about the trimester system is that it offers a lot of flexibility. So I mentioned, don't be too concerned about, you know, if you only take 3 courses in your first term, it's not that big a deal because you can actually pick up courses later, right? In the summer, there's another opportunity to pick up courses. It's also helpful if you want to take a term off, right? So some students do take terms off for whatever reason. It could be co-op, it could be they just need a term off, they have to work, travel, etc. Prereqs and co-reqs, again, we alluded to this already, but as Sophie was saying, there are courses that have prerequisites. That just means you have to take a certain list of courses to be eligible to get into the course that you're looking at. A co-req just means it's similar to a prereq, except that instead of only having to do that course before, you also have the option of doing it concurrently, so at the same time. Okay, so that's the difference about prereq and co-req. And then minimum GPA, we just want to let you know about something called continuance GPA in BPK. This just means that you do need to have a certain academic average. So we're looking at 2.5 for all of your science courses, okay? If you fall below 2.5, again, just on science courses, so that's BPK courses, as well as all those other science courses we listed, you will get a warning email from Sophie, just to give you a heads up. Hey, you know, this is in effect for you right now. Please don't be alarmed. Like, hopefully that's an opportunity for you to reach out if you haven't already, so that we can help you with your courses being successful, that sort of thing. Also to note, that only comes into effect after you've done 24 units, okay? So don't worry about this in your first term. Like, we know it's a tough term. This report is only run after 24 units. So that's typically like later in your first year or second year, okay? Do you want to talk about this or do you want me to go through it?
Yeah. No, I can chat about it very quickly. When you contact an advisor on campus, if you're emailing, for instance, you should always include your name, your SFU student number, and it really helps if you include your advising transcript. And you can access this document through your Go SFU, your Student Services Center. It's a little buried. So the thing that there'll be a menu, top left-hand corner, there'll be a short menu. At the bottom of that, there's something that's called an unofficial transcript, and that's what students will attach. I would probably do the same thing. The thing with the unofficial transcript is it's not a complete document. So for instance, if you had IB transfer credits, or you had AP transfer credits, or you transferred from a college or another post-secondary, it would say something like 27 units of transfer credit, and it doesn't list them. So for an advisor, that's not helpful. But this is a real advising transcript, but we blocked out any personal information. So this will have everything about a student on one piece of paper. So you may think I'm asking a really simple question, but the person who's helping you might have to check several things, and we're able to check those several things on here. So we can check your high school, we can check if you got IB or AP transfer credit or college transfer credit. It's hidden under your advising transcript, but it would also show your student programs. So it would show if you've been approved into the biomedical physiology major or the kin major. If you've all come in as kin general, if you've been admitted to kin, Some of you, a lot of you will want to do the concentration. You'll need to contact me. I'll add the concentration. It's just one extra line of coding. It would show up under student programs. If you are behavioral neuroscience, you'll notice that it says be new intended. Okay, so we wanted you to actually get a look at this document so that you know what it looks like and when you're ordering it. So there's a secondary drop-down menu. There's a box that says other academic. You click on that, you get a new drop-down menu, and about halfway down, there's something that says transcript advising. And this is how you access this document. There's another really great document there, which I won't touch on very much, but it'll be the first or second item on that new drop-down menu. It's called academic requirements. And that's also another great resource. But I don't want to go into it today. I think we're very conscious of trying to keep this to a reasonable time and give you some chances for a Q&A.
Yeah, and if you need some help with finding your academic advising transcript, let us know afterwards. I can give you a link that gives you the instructions to get there. Just along the lines of setting yourself up for academic success, there is this one course we want to promote. This one's called Sci 190. It's a 1-unit course. So it's you only meet for 1 hour a week on Mondays, 1:30. It's being offered by Dr. Sarah Johnson. She's one of our physics instructors. And there's another prof, Dr. Nancy Hawkins, who's also offering the same course. Really great course to help you get set up for being successful at SFU. It's small group based, so it's a small cohort that so great chance to meet other students, other peers in science. It's dedicated just for science students. And every week we'll have kind of a different topic of how to succeed. It'll also give you an introduction to every department in science. And it'll also introduce you to all the resources on campus. So yeah, really good course. We highly recommend it. Again, it's only 1 unit too, so it's yeah, Sophie was mentioning if you're looking for that 1-unit course, this would fulfill that. And then we also want to mention co-op. Hopefully you've heard about co-op. It's something that a lot of people know about at SFU. Co-op is essentially when you take a term off of your courses and you're doing work experience in the field that you're studying in. It is paid work experience, and that work experience can be on campus or off campus. I highly recommend it. I did 5 co-ops myself as a kin student here. Great experience, not only just to learn about industries that you might be interested in and getting that experience, but it can also tell you what you're not interested in too, right? Again, it's typically 4 months, so 1 term. On some occasions, the co-ops can be 8 months or even a year. They are another great thing about it is they can even be international. So I was able to work in the States for 8 months. And again, good experience for your resume, but also for the contacts and the networking and all that sort of stuff that's helpful for you, moving on in your career. And with that, it's not all about academics here at SFU. There's lots of ways to get engaged, and we have Manit here to talk about the student experience.
Thank you. So my name's
Other one, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's the down, it's a little confusing. There we go.
my name's Mani, and I'm the All Science DSU representative for BPKSA, which is just like the BPK Student Association. And today I'm just going to be presenting and letting you guys know what we do and how you can get involved. So in our BPK Student Association constitution, we have a really big focus on having students being involved and having a collaborative environment. We want all of you first years, or if you're from transferring, just to get involved, make yourself a part of the BPK Student Association, and just be proud to be here, because honestly, this is probably the best. It's a really great major, and you guys will love it here. And I just want to highlight some of the events that we hosted in the fall. So we had a Frosty Fiesta skate night, which we collaborated with the Exercises Medicine Club. And it's just fun little activities that give you a break from your busy life with school. And it's just nice to get a break. And we also did host a pillow talk event with collaboration with the Mind Matters, and Professor Deanna just spoke about sleep and like the importance of it. And it's just really good to like know all this information and just, just do some small activities like that. Another thing that we do is a lot of events and seminars. So we do host a navigating research night, and it's where professors get to like display their research, and they present what they do and how you can get involved. And there's lots of research opportunities, and that event gives you a moment to connect with each specific professor, which is like a great way to just get your foot in for research, especially because it's really important to have, and it's just like great for future experiences. And we also do collaborate with other universities, which are probably postgraduate schools. We have the Ross University School of Medicine. So it's like medical school that's abroad. And if you want to go to other places, maybe like you can't get in here, there's lots of different opportunities, and we just present them to you so you know what they are. We also have career panel discussions. We're actually hosting one Thursday, July 18th. So you guys can join that. Just follow us on the Instagram and you'll see like the links to that. And it's where different BPK alumni present what they do and their professions themselves. They talk you through like the process of how they got there and what they do. It gives you a lot of different insight on different career opportunities. If you're ever confused, this is a great way to have insight on that.
It says January.
This one was a previous one.
Okay.
Yeah, the new one just got like brought up now, so it's not updated on here.
When is it?
It's Thursday, July 18th. And it's on Zoom, so it's easily accessible. And this one specifically was for grad schools. The one we're having on Thursday is for non-grad schools. So just with the BPK degree, like what jobs you can get, which is really interesting because most people think of doing grad school, but there's lots of opportunities without it as well. Okay, so in the fall, we're gonna be having Clubs Day. I believe it's the second week.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, second week. And if we're gonna be having our own table there, so come by, meet us, and just talk to us. We'll tell you about other events in the future, and you can sign up and be on our mailing list that day. And we also have our merch sales, which a lot of people get as a first year. You can pick lots of different colors, designs, and just like be a part of the BPK community. And lastly, we have our BPK 101 event. This is probably our biggest event for all first years, and it has lots of attendance. We do lab tours of like each prop, and we go into the lab, they talk about it, you get to see kind of what they do. And we also have a scavenger hunt with lots of cool prizes, and there's swag bags for every student. So if you attend, stay till the end, you get some more BPK merch, like you look at little tote bags and cute things. Also, you're accommodated with a dinner, so there's probably like pizza at the end, and you get to have some like snacks throughout the day. It's really good to meet with other people and the BPK community, and especially if you're coming here like alone, not with many friends, it's really great to go and experience. Okay, I want to talk about BPK peer mentorship. So as a first year, you can sign up to be a mentee. It'll be in like the next slide, the QR code. And it's really great because they can help you with any questions you have as a first year. Sometimes you're confused on what classes to take. Maybe you want to talk to someone that's like kind of younger, or just about life struggles. Like we're here to help you guys as a peer mentor, and just any like problems and help you navigate through post-secondary. If you guys want to get involved, we do have weekly meetings on every Wednesday at 9 p.m. They are on Zoom, so they're easily accessible. And you can go on BPKSA on Instagram, follow us, and there's going to be lots of updates on there for you guys. And yeah, the BPK 101 and Clubs Day are coming soon, so just keep a head out for that. And you guys can scan that to become a mentee and just take a picture if you would like.
And we'll send it out afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So much, we appreciate it. Alrighty, I'm going to invite Sophie and Aiden to come join us up here. We will open up the floor to questions. We of course have some folks in the room, but we also have some folks on Zoom. So Neela, if questions come in on the chat, please let us know. And we'll open up the floor to any questions. Yeah, go for it.
So I know you guys mentioned that you can do different minors in like the same faculty or different faculties. I was wondering if you could do like a double major with
Oh,
BPK.
yeah, great question. So your whole degree is 120 credits. And to graduate, you need to do either at least one major or in some cases, at least two minors, like the double science or general science double minor. But a very common combination is a major and a minor or two majors. Sometimes departments have agreements with one another where they set up what's called a joint major. That's what behavioral neuroscience is. So it's a joint major between the BPK department and the psychology department. So you get two majors for the workload, or it's, you want me to phrase it differently?
There are joint majors, but BPK is one major.
Mhm.
So I just want to make sure that you don't think you're coming out with two, you're not coming out with a BPK major and a psych major.
Yes. Sorry, yes, I should have phrased that differently.
But yeah, I know what you're trying to say. I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that being you.
Mhm.
It was we collaborated between the two departments. We were actually the first undergraduate BNU program.
Mhm.
Most BNU programs in the past were at the graduate level, but there are joint majors. I'm trying to think. I don't know, is there a joint major between
Others,
business and economics?
there's lots of joint majors in other ones that come to mind in the Faculty of Science, mathematics and computing science, molecular biology and biochemistry and business. But let's say you're interested in two majors that don't have a pre-existing joint major. You can still do two majors. It definitely takes some thoughtful planning with the advisors from both programs. And I think realistically, that's probably closer to like maybe 132 credits instead of 120, but it's definitely manageable with some thoughtful planning.
We've had one student who did biomedical physiology and did biomedical engineering.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a great combination, but they were close to 200. Like they were, it's not just a little over 120, even though a lot of some of the chemistry overlapped, some of the math
Mhm.
overlapped, some of the physics overlapped. So it's definitely doable, but it would take you a lot longer.
Engineering is also a bit of an outlier because their degrees are 150 credits
Yeah, so
compared to
it was.
120 for everyone else.
But just to give you an example of another one, we've had a couple of students who've done a kinesiology major and also a dance major.
Mhm.
And some of them might be interested in doing becoming a physical therapist,
Mhm.
and they want to focus on, physical therapist who basically works with elite dancers or something like that.
Mhm.
And that's a little challenging because dance is downtown. And kinesiology, most of the courses are here, but it's doable. But often when the student would be in their science courses one term, and then the next term they'll be doing their dance courses, then the next term. And of course, it took them longer than the give or take 4 or 5 years to complete their degree. But that's what they really wanted to do. So going back to what Claire said, some of these things are doable with you just have to do a lot of planning with both of your advisors.
Neela, any questions on the Zoom we can answer?
We have 6, and I will ask those in order.
All right, let's start with the first one.
What's the BPK 101 event?
When is BPK 101? Do we have a date for that?
Yes, it is Thursday, September 19th. So it's the third week of school. So like once school starts, it's a third week and it's a Thursday. And it is hosted from 3:30 to 8:30 p.m. So it's after classes unless you have like a lab or anything.
Yeah, thank you.
My second question, how many courses are we able to take during the summer semester?
Oh, great question. How many courses could you take in the summer? The answer for that's actually the same any semester. And do you want to speak a bit about course availability in the summer in general?
Sure. Yeah, so summer is a normal term, so you can take, as many courses as you would take in another term. There is an upper limit, just so you know, the 18 units would be the most you can take. That's 6 courses. We don't really recommend doing that many courses in general, except in very rare occasions. Summer, as we were saying, most of your your lower division courses, first, second year courses, they do have typically a pretty full offering, like right through, even including the summer terms. Not all courses are going to be offered though in the summer. It's probably the lightest of the 3 terms, but there still is the majority of your courses. Once you get into the upper division courses, those 300 and 400 level courses, they will be offered less frequently. There might be, only 1 or 2 profs that teach that course because that's their specialty. So you could run into a situation where that course is only offered once a year. In that case, especially when you start planning your upper divs, definitely come talk with us, talk to Sophie or even us here in SciSpace. We can help you kind of plan that out, as well as show you, where is the course calendar, so you can see when courses are offered and what's coming up for the next term, that sort of thing. So hopefully that answers that question.
Just to add on a little bit to that, on the BPK website, we went to the BPK website, the second tab, undergraduate students, and then there's another drop-down menu. It says courses. If you click on that, it takes you to a new website, and one of the things is tentative course schedule. So right now, if you were to go there, it shows you, it's like an Excel spreadsheet that's been just uploaded to our website, but it basically shows you from fall of 2024 to, I can't remember, it's spring or summer of 2026, what the typical pattern is for courses. So it'll show you which courses are running fall, spring, summer, and it gives you a list of the faculty members who normally teach that course. So it won't give you, Dr. Brown is teaching that course for that particular term, but it'll tell you that these 3 profs teach this course, and you'll be getting one of those. You'll likely be getting one of those when the course runs. It allows you to do a little bit of planning ahead of time in the future. The only issue with that is unexpected things happen, and sometimes a course has to be canceled or it has to be moved from one term to another. But even so, it's not that is rare, but that's only 1 or 2 courses. So the bulk of that information is going to be accurate, and it's a useful document. So the reason why I'm saying this is that there's so many useful documents on the BPK website, but it's the same if you go to the business website or if you go to the history website. We've tried to create a lot of documents to help students, so that if you're going, I've got this burning question and I can't get in to see Sophie for a month and a half. Right? So it's very likely that unless it's something very specific to you and it's unusual, that if it's a fairly common question, we've thought about it and we've tried to prepare some resources for you. So we love it when you find them and you go, oh yeah, this was so helpful. But of course, you've got a huge support team. So if you can't find what you need by going to the website, or you're not quite sure if you're understanding the information correctly, or it doesn't apply to you, please reach out to your support team.
10 more to go.
Okay, we might not get through, and for the folks who are online, we're probably not gonna get through every question before our time is up at 2:30, but actually we'll keep doing questions, but I'll have our contact information back up on here, just in case there's any we don't get to. But let's go to the next Zoom question.
How do you navigate to the university transition form and high school transition from high school?
Oh, that is on the BPK forms link. Personally, I find everything, I've been working at SFU over a decade. I find everything with Google. SFU, BPK forms, it'll get you right there. That's my go-to every time. Yeah, next question.
How long would it generally take to complete a bachelor in kinesiology?
A Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology, what would you, in your experience, would you say is the
average to complete one of our degrees is 5 years. It's a 4-year degree. It normally gets completed in 5 years, give or take, for a variety of reasons. But that's actually the norm for the university. That is, give or take 5 years for most degrees at SFU. Would you?
Yeah.
And speaking of the co-op program that Aiden did 5.
Yeah, so you can imagine how long my degree took. 2 of those were 8-month terms. So yeah, it's a good 6-year experience for me, but it was very worth it. Got such great experience. My first job out of SFU was through my last co-op employer. So yeah, I don't regret it at all. I think we can rush. There are ways you can do your degree here in 4 years. It is possible. But you want to think about like, okay, what type of experience do I have after I leave? Or do I have some clear ideas about what I want to do? The BPK is such a broad and rich program. There's so many things you can do. So we really encourage you to make the most of your time up here and dive into some of the things you might want to do and find out, hey, is this what I like? And get the experience, get the contacts while you're here, because there's a lot here.
So I'm going to be a bit silly here because I've been here a long time, way longer than maybe I want to admit. And I've never seen anybody do this, but because we have 3 terms, right? A student could actually finish that 4-year degree in less than 4 years. Because you could go fall, spring, summer, and as long as the courses you need are running, right? But in my time, and like I said, I've been around a long time, I've never seen somebody who's completed their 4-year degree in like, let's say 3.5 or 3.
Yeah.
So, but just to give you an example of what, just to say what Aiden was saying is that we do have 3 terms and, you know, there's lots of flexibility there.
What postgraduate options are there at SFU after BPK?
Oh, what postgraduate options are there? At the master's and PhD level, what do we have in BPK?
We have, you can do a master's of science. We used to have a course-based master's. It doesn't exist anymore. So it's a research master's or a PhD in our department, but some of our students might want to do it in, our BP students often overlap a lot with MBB, so they may end up doing a master's in MBB and not in BPK, but it's very, very doable. It's very possible. A lot of the students that are in our programs though, and I touched on it briefly, they want to go on and apply to medical school, or they want to do optometry or dentistry. They want to do physical therapy, occupational therapy. Some people leave a bit earlier and they apply to nursing, or some people again leave a bit earlier and apply to pharmacy. Lots of people go out and work as kins and exercise physiologists. So lots and lots of opportunities. And then for our behavioral neuroscience students, which I sometimes, hopefully they don't think that they're an afterthought, but again, you can be with a professor within BPK. You might find a professor on the psychology side. There's jobs for people with a BNU major as a behavioral interventionist. So lots and lots of opportunities. Hopefully that sort of really answers that question.
Before we go back to Zoom questions, any more questions here in the room? I haven't seen any hands, but I thought I just. Oh yeah, go for it.
Do you suggest taking any semesters off, like terms off, or do you like do you like recommend doing like fall, spring, summer, like continuously?
Great question. I believe I could speak for all of us when I say we do not recommend doing nonstop semesters with no breaks. I think any of us would say it's a very smart idea to have breaks from school, and that could be to do co-op work terms, but it could just truly be to have time off. Maybe you're working a job, maybe you're traveling, volunteering, because the burnout of all school all the time is very real. But also that sort of go to school, fall, spring, take the summer off. That schedule doesn't work for everyone. A friend of mine when I was an undergrad was a really competitive skier and he competed with Team Canada. So he always took the spring semesters off. So he came to school all summer, all fall, and then January to April was his time away from school. Anyone want to elaborate on that?
I'd love to hear what.
Yeah.
So for me, like I just completed my first semester. I took like 15 credits first semester, 16 second, and now I'm doing summer school. And I honestly wish I never did it because like after taking like a big course load throughout like the fall and spring, it really does burn you out. And like you really just, you can't focus on your other stuff now because you just like need a break. I mean, it's nice because you can have less classes in the summer if you'd like, but honestly, take that time for yourself.
Yeah, I did. I did summer classes one time and then never again. But everyone's different.
Just one final thing about that is, again, students are going, this degree is going to take me, you're saying you don't recommend a full course load in my first term. And then you're saying to me, don't take the summer. So I can see why it takes people 5-6 years to complete their degrees. But so if you take a lighter load in fall and spring, and then you want to do 1 or 2 courses in summer, what we're talking about here is not going full load, full load,
Yeah.
full load, and just trying to just, work your way through it. There's much more to it than just your courses. We very much say that you need time to socialize with friends, you need to be getting enough sleep, you need to be going to the gym or taking a walk. And it's very hard for the students who do a full course load in summer if none of their friends are taking courses. At least if you've got a good friend who's in a similar program or a different program, and you're both doing one or two courses, and you can commiserate that everybody is at the beach downtown. And here you are on campus or something like this. So again, what we're trying to say to you is you have a lot of choice and we can make recommendations, but what works for one student doesn't work for another student, right? So for us to say, don't do full time or, take the summer off, everyone's situation is a little different.
I think we have time for one more Zoom question before we wrap up.
But this meeting, the recording will be sent out to everyone.
Yes, we will circulate the recording after the fact.
What are set 1 and set 2 courses?
Very briefly, they are the required courses to declare a major in any BPK program found on the BPK website. I'm not going to list what each of them are because that was the last question we had time for, but they are all listed online.
Remember, we were talking about the link to the approval form? They're listed on the approval form.
Fantastic. For those of you in the room, you're very welcome to stick around. We'll still be here, but for the folks on Zoom, we're going to wrap at this point. Again, please do not hesitate to follow up with us. We are all definitely here to help. A huge thank you to Sophie, to Aiden, to Manit, and to Neela behind the scenes, making all the technology work. Thank you all so much for joining us, and definitely be in touch. Thanks a bunch. I'm gonna keep smiling till I know the Zoom room is closed. Bye Zoom, bye Zoom.
Thank you, Claire.